There's no denying that we are a church that likes to sing, and we love music. We have blessed the most talented musicians from all kinds of genres who have shared their gifts with this congregation over the years. We have been blessed with Judy Ward, who has shared her passion for music with our congregation for decades. And in a church where leadership has come and gone, she has remained a constant in time and change. Hymns have been in the life of the church very early on in its history. And it really goes back to its Jewish roots. Profound words and wonderful words have been placed alongside equally profound and wonderful music. The early church's first hymn book was the Book of Psalms. Hymn is a Greek word meaning song of praise. A hymn is typically defined as a song of adoration, of prayer, and praise directed towards a deity of God. Thomas Aquinas, in his introduction to his composition on the Psalms, said that a hymn is the praise of God with song. The song is the exaltation of mind dwelling on eternal things, bursting forth in the voice. In the New Testament, there are numerous examples of early followers of Christ singing hymns. Out of the bounds of the Bible, sacred hymns have been composed by many different people, individuals such as Martin Luther, to Charles Wesley, to Isaac Watts, to black slaves in America, to the Gators. They composed in many different times, and in many different places throughout the world. Hymns, like other spiritual songs, hold a special place in our hearts. Certain hymns just bring back memories, so much so that when we hear a particular hymn, it takes us back to that particular time of life, just like it was yesterday. Whenever we hear that certain hymn, we feel those same feelings, and we smell the same smells. Music has a powerful way of helping us relive things. We often know our favorite hymns, we can sing them on command, but we don't always know and listen to the words and see the beauty that is in them, separate from the music. Yes, music highlights the attractiveness and magnificence of the words. But if there is no great meaning to the words themselves, all you have is just good music. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that doesn't make it. Today, we're starting a sermon series about hymns. Now, these particular hymns that I'm highlighting over the next 5 weeks have not been picked at random. Instead, they have been selected because of their popularity in this congregation. During my maternity leave, you had the opportunity to pick some hymns that you wanted to sing in a hymn sing on a Sunday morning service in October. And so we did just that. There were no overwhelming favorites, though, from that poll in the survey. I thought there would be, but there weren't. You guys were kind of really all over the place. You had the good favorites, the more modern things, the more contemporary music, and spirituals. You were just all love different things. There were a lot of hymns that received 1 or 2 votes, but there were few that had more than that. The only clear favorites were Amazing Grace and In the Garden, and we'll get to those in the next few weeks. I hope in the course of these 5 weeks that you fall in love with these hymns in a new way, as we seek to understand the words behind the music. This first hymn is really one of my favorites on Eagles Wings. I first heard this hymn either in a Catholic Mass or during a Catholic funeral. I don't really know which one, but I know it was a Catholic service. Upon hearing this hymn for the first time, I thought to myself, why haven't I heard this hymn before? It's just so beautiful and lovely, and I hadn't remembered hearing this hymn sung during any Protestant worship service I've ever been to before that point. On Eagle's Wings was written in 1979 by Father Michael Dunkus. This hymn was written after Vatican II, which is important. And during Vatican II, the Roman Catholic Church made many changes to their structure and practice in order to kind of bring the church more up to date with modern times. And now what was agreed upon in Vatican II, the Catholic Church was allowed to sing hymns during a Mass that would hymns that were based on the language of the people in that particular country. So they could sing hymns other than just in Latin like they had before. Over the decades since the composition of this piece, Eagle's Wings has really become the Catholic funeral Mass song. It's been played at all the Catholic funerals I've been to. In fact, I want to play in mine. The song has significance beyond the realm of Catholicism, and it is a favorite amongst Protestant churches, such as our own. After 9/11, this hymn was played at many of the victims' funerals, and this hymn undoubtedly provided comfort for their loved ones during such a time of great grief. Some hymns get their inspiration from Scripture, and On Eagle's Wings is one of them. It was inspired by Psalm 91 that Dr. Manning read earlier today. And the words of the psalm and the words of the hymn are so very similar, as you've heard. They're almost identical. Psalm 91, the overarching theme is the confidence that the psalmist has in God's protection. The psalm was written in the midst and the mess of the great exile, where God's people, the Israelites, were forced to live in a foreign land, a land that was not their own, a land that was far away from them. This promised land that was given to Abraham and his descendants, the same land that the Israelites, slaves under the guidance of Moses and then Joshua, spent 40 years in the wilderness searching for, and now they were not in that land anymore. Amidst all that distress, that anxiety, that hurt, that disappointment, and exile, the psalmist was confident that God was protecting him and the rest of God's people. When Jesus was tempted by the devil in the event of his public ministry after he fasted in the wilderness, Jesus quoted this psalm to thwart Satan's attempt to control him and gain authority over him. You know, the topic of God's protection has really been picking up steam recently. To me, it's really started heating up after 9/11. What happened that day was a shock, and that's an understatement. An act of that magnitude had not taken place on American soil since 1941 with Pearl Harbor. Although we probably wouldn't have said it out loud, many of us would have thought we were invincible, untouchable as a nation. However, 9/11/01, those beliefs literally fell smashing to the ground. And it seems like ever since that day, there's been a certain cloud over Americans. It seems that ever since that day, we've been vigilant about protecting ourselves from harm, and this has really manifested itself in numerous ways over the past 11-ish years. It seems that more recently, violence and tragedy has become a normal occurrence in the life of people of America, from shootings in schools, to movie theaters, to political platforms, work offices, to tornadoes and hurricanes and other natural disasters in the heartland and the deep south and the east coast, pretty much anywhere you can imagine. Whatever protection we thought that we had left and regained is continuing to slowly wither away again. It seems that with every tragedy, whether man-made or nature-inspired, we become increasingly more vulnerable and wonder, could what happened there happen to me, to us here? And we know the answer is yes. But we surely hope and pray that it never does. Even on a lesser scale, when there are times in our life when our individual worlds are shaken by financial hardship, dysfunctional relationships,